Hello and welcome to Right Sports Talk. My name is Zach. We are 2 weeks away from the NFL draft, and with the draft being that close, and with me being a New England Patriots fan, I wanted to go over some possible draft scenarios that I've thought of for the New England Patriots. So in this video, I'm going to go over 3 possible draft scenarios that I think could happen, that I think New England Patriots could do. Basically, from what I think could be most realistic and most possible for them to do, to the third one kind of being, I could see them doing it, but I don't really see it happening. In this video, I'm going to just cover the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft. I'm not going to try to do a full 7-round mock draft of the NFL. I'm not, a big mock draft guy. I'm not a draft expert. I'm not, a scout or anything. So I'm not going to be going through a full 7-round. Oh, I think the Patriots should do all of these things. No, I'm just going to go through 3 rounds of the NFL draft and cover the 3 positions that I think are the most important for the Patriots to get, and that is a quarterback, a left tackle, and a wide receiver. I think those are the 3 positions, especially on offense, they still need to get, and those are kind of the 3 biggest pieces on their team that they need to get a player in the draft for. So starting off with my first draft scenario, and that's just, the Patriots staying where they pick in the first 3 rounds. So start off with, first round, number 3 overall, picking either quarterback Jaden Daniels from LSU or Drake May from North Carolina. I think whoever is available right there for them at 3, whoever the Commanders don't pick at 2, is who the Patriots should go for. I know there's been talk of, maybe the Patriots are really interested in J.J. McCarthy. Maybe the Patriots, some possibilities of picking him that high. I don't really think J.J. McCarthy should be picked that high. I really think that if the Patriots stay at 3, they should pick either Jaden Daniels or Drake May to be their quarterback of the future. And for the second round, I really think they should go left tackle. I know that they signed an offensive tackle, Chukwuamu Okafor, in free agency. So he's a guy that could step in and start at left tackle for them. But I still think they need somebody that can either, develop as the season goes along, or a couple of these guys, I think if they pick a guy in the second round, if there's some guys that are available I'm going to talk about, I think they could come in and be day 1 starters. As if any 3 of either Jordan Morgan from Arizona, Kingsley Samatai from BYU, or Tyler Guyton of Oklahoma are available with the 34th overall pick, I think the Patriots should pick them. And I think any 3 of those guys could step in day 1 and be that starter for them on left tackle. My favorite of those guys, as I've looked through these guys in the draft process, is Kingsley Samatia from BYU, because he's a guy that he has full seasons of experience as a right tackle and as a left tackle at BYU. So I think he could go in and, I think he could start day 1. And if there were some injuries on the offensive line, you can do some switching around. He could go to right tackle. Okafor, if need be, could step in at right tackle, and Samatia could play left tackle. So he just gives you more, I think, versatility and more experience playing both tackle positions. Now, if they get to 34 and none of those guys are available, then I think, they should go wide receiver at that position. Somebody like a Keon Coleman from Florida State, a Ladd McConkey from Georgia, an A.D. Mitchell from Texas if he's there, or even an Xavier Worthy from Texas if he's there. Or maybe somebody like an Xavier Legette from South Carolina, who is a guy I originally thought could be available for them in the 3rd round, but as the draft process is picked up, it looks like he might wind up being a 2nd round pick. So if there's no offensive tackles that I talked about available in the second round and you go wide receiver, then I think in the third round they could pick a guy like Patrick Paul from Houston, and he could really, kind of develop for a year behind Okorafor. But if they go offensive tackle in the second round, then I think wide receiver in the third round is where they should go. Whether that's a guy like Roman Wilson from Michigan, if he's there in the third round. I really like Devontae Walker from North Carolina. I really think he's a good wide receiver. He didn't really show out very well during the Senior Bowl, but I still think he's a really good wide receiver. Or even like a Jalen McMillan from Washington or Ricky Parcell from Florida if he is there. I think any of those guys would be very good at that position in the third round. Moving on, my next scenario for them is if they were to decide to trade back to trade out of number 3. When I originally going through this, I was like, man, I was wondering who they would trade with, but I think that trade option has got to be with Minnesota. Once Minnesota traded to the 23rd pick and wound up with the 11th and 23rd picks in the first round, I think that's the trade partner if the Patriots were to trade. Because for compensation this year, for at least the scenarios I'm talking about, you would get the 11th pick and the 23rd overall pick. So, it would give you 4 picks in the first 3 rounds. So I think at the 11th, in this situation, they trade back the Vikings, they get the 11th overall pick, and with the 11th overall pick, I think they should pick Olu Fashanu, offensive tackle from Penn State. That's, a staple left tackle. You could plug him in day one, and that's your guy. That's your cornerstone left tackle for hopefully close to the next decade. Like, just plug him in day one, let him go. He can still develop as the season goes on, but he is polished enough that he can just start day one for you at left tackle, and you don't really have to worry about it. And then in this situation at 23, I think they should pick a quarterback here. If Bo Nix or Michael Penix are still there, then they should absolutely go with one of those two. If for some reason they're both gone, then they should go best wide receiver available there, whether that's Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU. If he's there, that'd be I think a good get for them if there was no quarterbacks available. They wanted that early. Or, an A.D. Mitchell or a couple guys that I talked about going in the second. But in this situation, they pick either Bo Nix or Michael Penix, because with trading back, the Vikings go up, they get their guy. So then whoever that number 4 quarterback is falls to the Broncos at 12. Number 5 guy maybe goes to the Raiders, and then that 6th guy, whether it's Bo Nix or Michael Penix, falls to 23. Patriots pick him up. That's their quarterback. I think any of the top 6 quarterbacks in this draft are very good quarterbacks that can be, starters for your franchise. Then in the second round, I think they go, best wide receiver available. Any of the guys that I've already previously talked about. So that brings you to the third round in this situation. You've already addressed offense. You've already got your left tackle. You've already got your quarterback. You've already got wide receiver. So in the third round, that kind of gives you some options to add some. You can either do an offensive depth piece. If there's a tight end you like there, maybe like a Jatavion Sanders from Texas, that you want to pick that early. If you want to maybe double dip on wide receiver, maybe take a flyer on wide receiver Johnny Wilson from Florida State. He's a 6'7", roughly 230-pound wide receiver. Very big body wide receiver. Has had a little bit of issues with dropping problems in college, but still be a guy maybe you want to take a flyer on in the third round once you've already got a wide receiver earlier in the second round. Or you take, I think they could take the best available defensive end, because the defensive end is a position that they have starters at already. They just need some depth pieces there. Now moving on to my last scenario. This one is the Patriots not doing any trades, staying where they're at, but with the number 3 overall pick, instead of picking a quarterback, they pick Joe Alt, offensive tackle from Notre Dame. Joe Alt, very good offensive tackle, best offensive tackle in this draft class, a guy that, you'll put him in, he's going to be your left tackle for the next 10 years, the next 10 to 12 years. He's that good of a guy. So I wouldn't be totally, upset if the Patriots did this. I would be a little bit surprised, but this is something I could possibly see happening, but would be very surprised if this were the scenario that played out. I'm not saying I wouldn't want Joe Alt, but there are plenty of people that think, and it looks like the Patriots have decided that if they stay at 3, they're going to pick a quarterback there. So then, you get your left tackle in the first round. So then the second round, you go get one of those wide receivers. Again, whether that is a Keon Coleman, an A.D. Mitchell, a Ladd McConkey, Xavier Legette, those there. And then in the third round, you pick a quarterback that could develop behind Jacoby Brissett. So you're basically picking a quarterback that you're saying, this guy's not going to start this year. Jacoby Brissett's going to be our starter for this season. He's going to be our bridge quarterback. And then, this draft pick will be the guy maybe starting the season after. So, if they go third round, pick a quarterback like Spencer Rattler from South Carolina, Michael Pratt from Tulane, maybe a Jordan Travis from Florida State. It would be a guy that if you picked him here, you'd be like, yeah, I'm going to let him sit for a year because, I don't know how well he's going to come back or how soon he's going to come back from the leg injury he suffered towards the end of last college football season. Or if you really want to take a flyer on a quarterback in the third round to see how they develop over a year, they go Joe Milton out of Tennessee, who has just the best arm talent, arm strength overall in this draft class. He's not a guy that you'd want to put out there week 1, game 1 to be your starting quarterback as a rookie. And just one thing I want to talk about, one thing I want to bring up. This isn't really one of my scenarios. Kind of more of a funny thing for if this were to happen. Say the Chargers at number 5, Jim Harbaugh just really, really, really loves J.J. McCarthy. He just talked about him. He's the best quarterback in this year's draft at playing quarterback. So what if the Chargers wanted to trade up with the New England Patriots and pick J.J. McCarthy at 3? So the Chargers are saying, we'll give you the number 5 overall pick and Justin Herbert for the number 3 overall pick so they can go up and get J.J. McCarthy. I would be ecstatic if that happened. Be like, I'll take Justin Herbert, the number 5 overall pick. And the Chargers can go get J.J. McCarthy. That was not one I see happening. That was just more of a funny, what if. But, is anything you guys think the Patriots should do this year's draft? Anything that you agree with me on, anything you disagree with me on? Anybody that I have talked about that I kind of like the Patriots to pick, that you don't like them at all? Or, everything to say that, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.